anytime a member of the board is being personally attacked by the president, it does jeopardize the political independence of the Fed, that's for sure. What's a little bit tricky is that there are some actions taken by the board that require a simple majority. There are others that require a 5-vote supermajority. So the more seats Trump can claim, the more he can undertake certain actions, including adjusting the discount rate, which is decided by the Board of Governors rather than by the FOMC. And I think that this is probably most notable because unlike the Adriana Kugler seat, which has a term expiring in January, so her resignation wasn't a big deal. Trump was always going to be able to fill that seat. Lisa Cook's seat, her governorship, the person who will be occupying this governorship, this will last more than a decade. And if Trump is able to oust her, then he will be able to choose a member of the Board of Governors, which matters a lot for regulatory policy, who also votes on the Federal Open Market Committee, which sets monetary policy, and will have another voice influencing those policy decisions for more than a decade. Now, what's a little bit tricky is that we just saw a recent call from the Department of Justice asking Chairman Powell to oust Lisa Cook. Of course, we know there's going to be an investigation by the Department of Justice. That sounds like that's ongoing. But one thing that I want to note is that to the best of my knowledge, it's only up to the president to remove a member of the Board of Governors for cause. And I believe that's under Section 10.2 of the Federal Reserve Act. It does not look to me, not a trained lawyer, but it does not look to me like Chairman Powell himself can remove Lisa Cook.
Well, Stuart, I'm glad you brought that up because that's what I want to ask. Because Lisa Cook has said she has no intention of being bullied. Like she doesn't want to step down. So if she doesn't resign, I mean, can you go more into that path for the president to possibly fire her?
Yeah. So there are going to be a few different processes that are ongoing. The first sounds like is going to be an investigation by the Department of Justice examining cases of mortgage fraud. It seems to me like that's a plausible path where he could remove her from office. But again, lacking any sort of evidence, who knows about the credibility of the allegations? I haven't seen any documentation. There's been more reporting on it than I've had time to review. When we think about the internal process at the Federal Reserve that'll be ongoing, I'm sure there will be an inspector general examination of her financial disclosures and inquiring a bit more into transactions, including the mortgages that she's taken out on her 2 homes. And we do know that Chairman Powell, as the leader of the Board of Governors and as the leader of the Federal Reserve System, he takes these investigations pretty seriously. When instances of perhaps financial misconduct or questions of financial misconduct arose around 2020 regarding regional Federal Reserve branch presidents, namely Eric Rosengren in Boston, Chairman Powell was very serious in investigating those transactions. The difference is Chairman Powell and the Board of Governors has far more discretion and far more power in their ability to remove Federal Reserve regional bank presidents than they do in removing members of the board. So as much as there will be an internal investigation in the Fed, and it sounds like Governor Cook is willing to participate in those investigations and cooperate, the board itself, I believe, has relatively little power to remove a member of their own.